Welcome to episode 7 of Tales to be Told in the Dark. I went off on a little tangent in episode 6 and sidetracked myself. So I need to come back to that echo, that voice that people of a certain generation will be readily familiar with. Don't sit too close to the television, it'll make your eyes go square. How far away from the screen that you are listening to this are you? Are you looking at that screen? Surely if it would apply to a television, would it not also apply to any screen? Squaring the circle. Well, if staring at the screen makes your eyes go square, are they not circular? Is that not a reference to squaring the circle? But what if we circle the square? That could be very interesting. Now, if you were to put that circle, so it's just a big enough diameter, so the points of the square, the corners, actually touch. The cardinal points are in slightly different places than if they were on a cross. Talking of a cross or a plus or positive symbol, you may have heard the expression about the four corners of the earth. Many will be looking externally, looking outward, looking for those four corners. I suggest you come back to center. The whole point, the point of everything is you. Consider that vertical and horizontal line and their intersection. Do you not see there are four corners? They're not on the outside, they are within, right at the very center. Going back to cards, that expression about playing the cards close to the chest, close to the heart, not revealing your hand to just anyone, giving another an unfair advantage over you, seeing which are your strong suits, which are your weak suits. Talking of suits, if we go back to that hooked letter, and then we put the energy, the E behind that hooked letter, does that suit you? It certainly suits some that seem to wish to remain hidden. But I'm not accusing, I'm not pointing a finger, I am just highlighting things that seem to be apparent. Apparent is an apparition. They may just appear to you, not everybody is going to see them. They may be ghosts, they may be just figments of your imagination. Whatever you create, whether you create good or bad, you create it all. This is why you have to be careful with your thoughts. This is why you really need to be heart-centered. The heart is right in the middle. When you raise that Christ consciousness from the third chakra to the position of the fourth chakra, it becomes in balance. You now have a horizontal and a vertical line that forms a cross. In the biblical story, as a materialist story, what is actually being shown? You have Jesus crucified. Now the crux is to see the fiction. But either side of this Jesus are two robbers. One is the past, the other is the future. One of them is forgiven because in that final moment they have a realization. They can admit to themselves that they deserve to be there because they take responsibility for their actions and they are forgiven. This is all about the transcended self. We are in this physical world, but it is a guide looking at the spiritual history, because this plays out. There is a positive to the repeat. It is that story that plays out every day over and over. I speak from experience. I'll tell you a little amusing story. When I was in Scotland, I went to one of these food banks that does meals, and the lady came round and said, "Thank God," looking up at the ceiling. I said, "What? God's the smoke detector?" Well, I off-ended her. She walked the plank because she was not in control of her vessel. She allowed an emotion to take control of her vessel, and she went running off. Now I'm confronted with another lady with a face of thunder who says, "What do you believe in?" I said, "I don't believe in anything. I'm talking from experience." It was a sort of reenactment of being accused of being a blasphemer, and the other person played the part of the rabbi. The stories play out over and over. The world is a stage. The stage setting may change. The actors and actresses playing the parts may change, but the story, the essence of the story, remains the same. It plays out time after time after time. It's an infinite loop. It is the Sideways 8. It is being currently hijacked, getting a bit above their station. But that story will play out over and over again, whether you like it or not, whether you see it or not, matters not to me. I cannot, well, I could put my arm down your throat, but to raise that Christ consciousness, it is not physical, so what good would my physical being doing that action? What would I be trying to grab? I can't grab something that is not in the physical. Therefore, the only one, and there is only one, that can raise the Christ consciousness within you. Do you not realize that Christ is within you? Let me make that Christ all clear, crystal clear, with clarity. The Christ consciousness is within you, each and every one of you, whether you find it, whether you choose to find it. That is up to you. The only thing you have to do is take responsibility for your actions. How you react, how you respond. When there is an emergency, do the local authorities send out an emergency reaction unit, or do they send a response unit? The system will give you clues. It is a beautiful, beautiful, perfect story being played out in the external world. It is all about reflections. Reflect upon what you see, what you take in through the physical eyes. I would recommend that you do not square the circle of your eyes. You remain whole rather than squared. See things as they truly are, and how they see things that they are true lies, because it is always a mixture of truth and lie. All you are required to do is set a path, be the captain of your vessel, plot a course, because there are many others who will plot on your behalf and plot against you. But would you not rather navigate yourself through this? Think of the yin and the yang symbol. You have to see both sides. There is a very fine line to walk, but it's not straight. You have to maneuver yourself. You may have to sidestep to go round an object, just as you have to do in the physical world, unless you have the ability to walk through walls. But considering you are in a physical body, in a physical world, would that even be possible? All things are possible in the imagination. Whether you can create those and bring them into the physical reality depends on how you feel and how much intention, how much aim you put into it, whether you want Maya or I am. As above, so below. As within, so without. Must it be? It must be. So be it. So, like seeds. Love to you all.